Well, musicians from the Kharkiv Orchestra playing for a crowd in a subway. Over decades of war, subways have become home to so many trying to escape the shelling and the bombing. It is no different than what is happening during this war, and the musicians try to bring some sort of normalcy. This is Kharkiv, one of the last holdouts here in the very far eastern part of Ukraine, and you can see the Ukrainians have cut the Russian supply line here, which has been extraordinarily critical in terms of stopping any advancement to the west. But the Russians are continuing to try to come around here, and then up here. Whether they're going to try to cut off Kharkiv this way or allow Kharkiv to stay will tell us a lot about Vladimir Putin's intentions. Some of the neighborhoods in Kharkiv we can show you video of. There's not much left to fight for in large parts, especially of eastern Ukraine. And this has generally been part of Vladimir Putin's playbook of areas that he wants to occupy or take. Just go ahead and destroy the whole city. Therefore, there's not a lot to end up coming back to. With that, we bring in Major John Spencer, U.S. Army retired, chair of urban warfare studies, Madison Policy Forum. John, what are you making right now of the Russians sort of taking a step back in these major cities?
I mean, it's a clear sign they're losing. You know, since I've talked to you first, I said any day the Ukrainians don't lose, they're winning. Well, at this point, they're actually winning. They're pushing back and they're reclaiming urban terrain in Irpin, around Kyiv, and in Kharkiv. They're actually hunting Russian soldiers. And being pretty successful at it, to be honest.
Yeah, especially places then in the south. We'll get up to Kyiv in a minute. But Kherson here, which is the first big city the Russians taken, we understand the Ukrainians have pushed back in. The Pentagon says that is now a contested city. The last big holdout is Mariupol, which is there is nothing left here. But it is the last point that the Russians need to be able to connect the land bridge. Video now out of Mariupol of sort of a textbook ambush by Ukrainian forces of a Russian tank. The Ukrainians have had weeks now to set up these various fighting positions around and inside Mariupol. As you watch this video, take us through what the important points are, what it shows the Ukrainians have learned.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a textbook lesson of urban defense. The defender can get into a position and plan his attack from an elevated position where the tank can't reach, potentially attack the top of the tank where there is no armor or where it's very weak with an anti-tank guided munition like this. We see this from inside the room. He can never be seen. So I always say no smart soldier goes into an urban fight like this without a tank, and only a dumb soldier goes in, sends a tank in by itself. So what you don't see around it is infantry. Infantry around the tank help protect it, and the tank protects the infantry. Russians don't know what they're doing. They've destroyed every inch of Mariupol, but they're going to pay the price to take any inch of it. And what they're doing is a war crime. There's still over 160,000 civilians inside Mariupol that are starving to death, that are out of water. Russia needs to stop, let humanitarian aid get in before it continues to fight and die for that city.
Yeah, it doesn't seem as though that's something that the Russians are interested in doing. They certainly didn't do it in Chechnya or in the Republic of Georgia and Grozny and the like. We'll move up now to the northern part around Kyiv, where once again, we understand that the Ukrainians have continued to push out. They now own, as you said, the area around Irpin there, and have pushed the Russians off the high ground here. How do we judge this map? Because so often you think about the area in red as if the Russians own it all. Or are you seeing enough of a fight in the Ukrainians, enough tactical wherewithal for them to contest all of this area that the Russians at one point seem to have advanced into?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's an accurate read. The Russians have never owned anything, especially in urban terrain, how hard that is to say you own terrain. But at one point they'd had basically isolated sections and were pulled back into the defense and were holding their own per se. They were never going to get into Kyiv. I can't say never. There's no certainties. But Kyiv is a fortress city at this point, and there's no way they can get in. I think they were just holding time, and now they're being hunted. Their logistics are being cutted. The areas are being retaken, like Irpin and other neighborhoods around Kyiv that were just holding areas that the Russians were in. Yeah. This is a clear sign that they're really struggling to even do what Russia thinks it wants to do in Donbass.
Well, that's where I was going to go next, which is there's this Ukrainian unit. It's about 20,000 soldiers who have been holding a Russian frontal assault off here in the east. They've now got the Russians coming up from Crimea. As you point out, Mariupol is no longer really a problem in their rear. The Russians are trying to push up here, come around the other side of Kharkiv, and then pinch off this whole Ukrainian force and then be able to crush them. How significant is it that the eastern part of Ukraine has mostly Russian speakers? It's not the same kind of civilian population that's been allowing the Ukrainian army to operate in the West. If the Russians concentrate all their forces over here, are they going to be able to basically saw off this part of Ukraine?
I mean, it foreseeably is possible, but the Russians would have to do a lot to make that happen, to include pulling those forces that are supposedly holding ground in the West. They don't have enough to do it right now. It is very dangerous, and I'm really scared that might happen. But and we talked about this, what a motivated group of soldiers, in this case, Ukrainian soldiers, can hold off. I mean, think of Chamberlain at Gettysburg. These are some incredibly motivated soldiers with impressive weapon technology in the defense. Yes, it could happen. It could be the plan of Russia. But Russia is still going to pay, even in that location, a very heavy price.
Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.